Hey guys, I'm back to see all of you, all two of you, with another Marvel Legends review, because why the hell not? This guy just came in the mail. I'm pretty much just bored out of my mind buying whatever figures that interest me, figures of my favorite characters, with all the money that I shouldn't be spending out of my savings, but what the hell? You gotta live a little, right? Especially in these times. So this one's going to be Nightcrawler, obviously, as you can tell, in case you thought it was just some random dude that's blue, or in this case, top half of his face looks kind of black, honestly. That's just a shading. We'll talk more about that head when we get into the actual review, but yeah, so we're going to be talking about the Wendigo wave, Nightcrawler, and before we talk about him, and yes, I do have the backdrop up. I normally use it for pictures. I don't know. I figured there wasn't really much of a point having it up in reviews because it's not wide enough to cover the entire frame. So I don't know. You guys let me know if you like that, even though it doesn't cover the whole frame. I normally just use it for pictures, but just let me know if that appeals to you at all, even though it's kind of pointless. Before we get to him, we're going to move him. We're going to talk about the most exciting part of any action figure, and that's the packaging. So we got Marvel Legends series, got the X at the top. From pretty much all the X-Men figures have this, which is a pretty nice touch. The figure Wendigo. I got artwork of him on the back, or on the side, sorry. Same on both sides. And I believe this is even the same on the back, so we just get a bigger, more full picture. And we got a description: with sticky hands, a sharp tail, and piercing yellow eyes, the troublemaking mutant Nightcrawler scales walls and teleports from place to place. Ooh, wow. We got the other figures of the wave. Don't expect me to review them, because I probably don't care to purchase any of them, except maybe Mr. Sinister, but we'll see about that one. Obviously, an accessory you'll notice right out of the gate, he comes with the left arm of Wendigo. I have no aspirations of actually building the thing, so I'm not even really going to bother taking it out of the package. You can see it. You know what it is. It's a big-ass Wendigo arm. Alright, that's done with. Now let's get on to the figure. And here we have Nightcrawler, aka Kurt Wagner. And let's hope he stays standing up, because this pose was kind of hard to pull off, because he's kind of leaning back a little bit, like his sort of dueling pose, his fencing dueling pose. Like, come at me, bro. Let's sword fight. Speaking of swords, let's talk about his accessories first. Ah, crap. I seem to have forgotten one of them. Give me a moment. Okay, so as far as accessories go, as previously mentioned, he comes with this wonderful sword here. This wonderful swashbuckling sword, straight out of a pirate movie or something. But Kurt is actually a very skilled sword fighter, and just seeing him with this sword, I almost wish he came with two swords, so that I could just recreate that cinematic from the Marvel Ultimate Alliance video game. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. That was badass. But yeah, just a nice silver blade with the gold handle. Nothing super crazy, but nice and clean, and everything's very well done. And I also like that's a nice long sword. Not to sound too weird there, but it's not like, well, to be to throw a little shade at the Deadpool figure, not like a short, like half sword dealio. I don't know, whatever he had going on, but I mentioned in the review I didn't mind that. I thought it suited the representation that they were going for with that figure. But we're not talking about him. But yeah, that's just one of the accessories. The other, this would count as one. This is one of his 3 heads he comes with. This is the smiling, kind of playful sort of head. He's kind of like enjoying himself. Even in the heat of battle, sometimes you gotta enjoy yourself. So yeah, That looks very good. It's probably my favorite head. It's probably the one I'm going to display him with. Though I did have him displayed with this head earlier. The more mean mugging. Get that stupid hair out of there. More mean It's still there, isn't it? God damn it. So much freaking dog hair and crap. This is what happens when you have too many pets. More mean mugging type of head sculpt, and he's got the dark blue or black shading over his face, which I suppose, from what I've heard, is supposed to represent sort of like his shadows cast over his face, and like a lot of different artwork of Nightcrawler or comic panels where he's kind of cloaked in shadow a little bit, and he has that angry look on his face. And this is really well done too. There's some blue shading there in his hair. Comes with all three heads. This one is the one he had in the packaging, which was a more is a more neutral type of head sculpt, which it's fine. Nothing too crazy, nothing to write home about, but it works. And I like the nice pointy ears he's got going. Similar blue shading to the other head sculpts there. It's hard to make out on the camera. You can kind of get it there. I really should pick a better time of day to review these things. You can actually see it more on the head sculpt I had him with, or at least you could earlier. If I can get him into some light here. Let's see. There you go. You can see a little bit of that there. Yeah. And then the other accessory, which I initially forgot to grab, is he comes with another just kind of semi-relaxed hand, just regular hand for his right hand instead of the sword-holding hand that he comes equipped with out of the package. But I'm probably gonna have him with the sword on display anyway, so it's nice to have the option though. Other than I mentioned maybe coming with an extra sword, another accessory that would have been nice would be a Bamf effect. But it's hard to complain too much because a lot of Hasbro Marvel Legends don't even come with as many accessories as he does, so I don't really want to push our luck here by complaining about wanting more. But yeah, so that's it as far as the accessories. I went over the head sculpt kind of as I was going over the heads, but they're all really well done. They look good. I heard complaints that he looks too elfish and not demon-y enough. I can see that complaint, but I kind of like this too. And it honestly all depends on like the artist that's drawing him, because I know plenty of artists that do draw him more elf-like, like this, and then some that kind of draw more demon-y, which, I mean, this head sculpt is pretty good for that, for the people that wanted that. Though I do understand if people are kind of irritated or don't really want the dark shading over his face and would rather just have a straight up blue but still mean mugging head sculpt. I can understand that complaint. But yeah, I don't mind. I think it looks good. Solid. One thing I might have to complain about is even on the back of the box they mentioned his piercing yellow eyes. And the eyes on this figure are really more green than yellow. I suppose that isn't a huge complaint, because the colors are very much related on the color wheel, if you know what I'm saying. But I would prefer like a mix, like a greenish yellow, which they're kind of doing here, but it's really mostly green. So I would prefer more of a yellow tint to them than the more green look that they have here. But it's still not too bad, and all the paint's pretty well done. With this head, I had to scrape off a little bit. There was a little excess white where like they painted his fangs in there. It was bleeding onto his lower lip. It still kind of is, but that kind of QC thing is just par for the course with Hasbro. You're not always going to get the perfect figure, especially if you order it online and you can't tell. But I'm pretty lucky. I got as lucky as I did with the paint, because other than that, there really isn't too many problems. There isn't like scuffing or other bleeding or splotch marks or anything like that. Other than that, it's pretty clean all around with the paint. And I heard So this is an entirely new body mold, which is awesome. Great to see Hasbro using or creating new sculpts, and obviously for Nightcrawler he has a very unique build. You don't want to just slap a Nightcrawler head on a Bucky Cap mold or a Bucky Cap body or something like that. It wouldn't really work. Put some shoulder pads on him. No, don't need a bodybuilder Nightcrawler. He's always been more of an acrobat or gymnast type build, and this new sculpt works really well, really nice, lean, and lanky. The musculature is really good. I like the detail at the back there, the lats and the upper traps. It all is just really well done. There's abs there. Regardless of your overall stature, one guarantee of Marvel characters, you're going to be ripped. But yeah, so overall, and then he's got the feet, the 2 toes, and sort of that, almost like a toe in the back. I don't know if it's supposed to be another toe or like this just his heel really sticks out. I'm not exactly sure on that one. You'll have to let me know, the super comic aficionados, in the comments if you even watch this video. He's got the 3-fingered hand, which is also pretty accurate. He's got the 2 fingers in the thumb. I just recently drew a portrait of Nightcrawler, so I had trouble. He had a sword in the picture too. He actually had 2 swords, so I had to draw his little 3-fingered hands gripping onto the sword hilts like so. But I didn't have his figure then, so it would have been might have been a nice reference. But yeah, and then the tail looks really good, sculpted very well. Not really too much detail needed. Just needs to be, a tail and not look weird where it's plugging in there. But it looks fine, looks good. And the only real sculpting you need to do is right here on the end here with the little spear tip. And I like the way that they sculpted this. It looks very good. They even got it looks like it continues on and then kind of splays out to the sides here, which is another thing I had to kind of draw with when I was drawing Nightcrawler. But yeah. And as every other review will have told you, it's not a bendy tail, unfortunately. That would have been awesome. It's not bendy. It does rotate 360, so you can it still looks aesthetically fine. It's just you're not going to get as dynamic tail poses out of it as you would if it was a bendy tail like the Toy Biz version. But Toy Biz version, by all accounts, has not aged the greatest, which is part of the reason everyone was so happy to get this guy. And with that, let's get into the articulation. Alright, let's hope this looks alright. So for his articulation, the head. One thing I will say about the head is it's very, even I've swapped it out multiple times, but it's still like extremely tight on there. So you can move it. I mean, I'd rather have it be extremely tight than extremely loose. There's a little sexual innuendo there for you. But yeah, just really kind of takes some effort actually to move this thing. Which is probably just mine, honestly. So, head rotates full 360. Looks up very well. Down very well. And there's a little bit of neck pivot. You'd probably get it better if you don't have a super tight head like mine does. But you can get a little bit on there. And then arms fully rotate. And they go out that much. This one seems to go out more, but it might just be no, they go out all the way. And he's actually got armpit butterfly joints. They're hidden behind his little vest, shoulder pad thing he's got going. They don't have the most range, but they're there. Really good ab crunch. Goes forward and back very well. It's got the waist twist. Legs kick forward. This one doesn't want to kick forward very far. I wish they kick forward more. But I guess they kind of kick back a little bit, so that almost makes up for it, but not quite. Let's see if this one's better. No, they both... I would rather them kick forward more, but they go out just fine. More than enough. And he's got upper thigh cut. Double jointed knees. Really good range. No boot cut. But the ankles move down, up, and he's got that ankle pivot. The wrists, they rotate, and this one hinges like this, the roll of the dice motion, the sword hand, which is good, so you can get him in all those sword fighting poses you would need, and then these regular hands just hinge the regular forward and back kind of motion, the throwing motion, I suppose. Oh my god, did I forget the bicep swivel and the double joint elbows? I would like a little more range on those elbows, but they work. That'll do. It's more than 90. God, man, I am so out of it, aren't I? I'm out of it during all these reviews. What's wrong with me? What the fuck is wrong with me? My god. And I already mentioned the tail rotates. I don't need to do that again, do I? So, yep, there's your batch of articulation for this guy. I mentioned earlier the paint was mostly clean, and that is true, but the red over the white here is very clearly just red painted onto the white gloves, or the black arm here. And you can see the white peeking through the red there, so it would have been nice if they went with a higher quality paint for that. It reminds me of that awful Captain America figure that they made, except that figure, all the paint was like that, but these are just a little red cuffs on there. Same with the legs, or the red paint there on the legs. It's the same type of paint, which luckily these are just a small area, so it's more of a nitpick than anything. And at least the paint job itself is clean. It was put on there clean, but the paint itself is just a little weak. I wish they just went with what they have with the vest sort of deal here and just matched it. But it's not a huge deal, and like I said, it's done well enough. It's just the paint itself isn't the greatest, whatever type of paint they used for that. But I'm gonna do some size comparisons and then get out of here, because I have a really bad habit of making these videos way too fucking long. And this wasn't even a comparative review, like the Wolverine one I just did. Wolverine will fucking stand up. Come on. A little aggro here. There's Wolverine. So yeah, Nightcrawler is taller than Wolverine. Is he standing as straight as he can be? Pretty much. Maybe Nightcrawler should have been a little bit taller, but I'm not sure exactly how tall he is in the comics. I know Wolverine's like 5'3" or something ridiculous. Then let's get Deadpool in here, and Deadpool is taller than Nightcrawler, which I imagine he would be, honestly. So obviously, if you pose him around, it's gonna be fine. And for all I know, this could actually be Nightcrawler's height. And Wolverine might be standing more straight than him, and he is taller than Wolverine, just not by as much as I would have expected. But yeah. These are the X-Men characters I have on me right now. But yeah. So overall, is this the best Nightcrawler figure? Probably. There haven't actually been as many made as you would think. But this is probably the best 6-inch scale Nightcrawler we have, unless there's like a freaking Mezco 1/12 or whatever. Which, I don't know, there might be. I don't know what they do with that, but as far as Marvel Legends goes, it's definitely the best one, and if you're an X-Men fan, you need this guy. If you're a Nightcrawler fan, you already have this guy. So that's my review. Kurt Wagner, aka The Incredible Nightcrawler. And yeah, I did just watch X2 as well, so I'll stop blabbering now, and I'll get out of your hair. Spam phone out of here.